Hello students, this is Mrs. Miller, and the purpose of this video is to solve our Perplexor called Taylor's 10th. Now this is Perplexor number 17, and we're going to work through this one together. First, let's read the story. Tim, Terry, Tina, Tom, and Text were all invited to Taylor's 10th birthday party. The gifts they brought her were tennis balls, a toy teapot, a tiny top, a tape recorder, and a top hat. They paid $5, $6, $8, $9, and $10 for their gifts. At the party, they all were given seats next to someone they did not know. Their partners were Trevor, Tamika, Theo, Ted, and Teresa. Based on the clues, match the children with the gifts they brought, the cost of their gifts, and their partners. All right. So let's work through the clues together and figure out which gift each person brought, how much the gift cost, and who they sat next to. Clue number 1 says this: Tim, Terry, and Tex spent the most for their gifts, which did not include tennis balls. Okay, I'm going to break this information down. I'm going to start with Tim. I'm going to circle these bottom 3 prices, because I know he spent one of the top prices there. And I'm going to do the same for Terry. Their gifts were most expensive. And for Text. And it also says they did not buy the tennis ball. So for each of them, I'm going to cross off tennis balls. Oops, sorry about that. And that's for Terry and Tim. Now there's something else I can do since I know this information here. I can go through for Tim and Terry and Text, and I can cross off $5 and $6 because they spent the most for their gifts. There's something else I can do as well. For Tina and Tom, I know that they spent either $5 or $6, so I'm going to circle it and then cross off 8, 9, and 10 under them. All right, I'm finished with clue number 1. Let's move on to clue number 2. Tim and Tina knew Trevor and Teresa, but did not sit next to them. So I'm going to go to Tim, and I'm going to cross off Trevor and Teresa, because even though he knew Trevor and Teresa, he did not sit next to them. Same thing with Tina. Tina did not sit next to Trevor or Teresa. Okay. All right, you should be able to see it a little bit better this way. Okay. Clue number 3. Tom did not buy tennis balls and spent $4 less than Terry, who spent the most. Okay, let's break this information down. Tom did not buy tennis balls, so let's go to Tom and cross off tennis balls. That was the first part of the information. He spent $4 less than Terry, who spent the most. So let's go over to Terry. Terry spent the most, which was $10. And it tells us that Tom spent $4 less, which is $6. So there we go. So now for Terry, I'm going to cross off $9 and $10, since I see that he spent, or $8 and $9, I'm sorry, since I see that he spent $10. And for Tom, I'm going to cross off $5 since I see that he spent $6. Now there's something else I can do. I can go through and cross off the amounts that I circled here from underneath everybody else. So under Tina, I'm going to cross off $6 because that's how much Tom's gift cost. So that only leaves $5 for Tina's gift. So I'm going to circle that. Now Terry's gift was $10, so I'm going to cross off $10 from underneath Tim and from underneath Text. Okay. Let's go on to the next clue. The child who bought the toy teapot sat next to Theo. Well, let's take a look and see if there's anything that we can cross off with that information. I'm not seeing anything right now, so I'm going to circle this clue, and we will come back to that. Let's go on to the next clue. The child who gave the tennis balls sat next to Ted. The child who gave the tennis balls sat next to Ted. Now, right off the bat, I'm looking across, and I see the only person who could have given the tennis balls is Tina. So I'm going to circle tennis balls for Tina and cross off everything else. And I know that Tina sat next to Ted. So I'll circle Ted and cross off all the other names there. Now, since I circled Ted right here, I can cross off Ted from underneath everybody else's name. So I'm going to do that. I'll cross off Ted here, here, and here. Because once I use something, I have to cross it off from underneath everybody else. Okay? Clue number 6. The tiny top cost Tim $9. So Tim had the tiny top, and it cost him $9. So now I'm going to cross off the rest of these from underneath Tim. And I'm going to go through and cross off tiny top from underneath everybody else. Since Tim had that, I'm going to eliminate that as one of my choices. Now, I'm going to go back up to clue number 4 because there's some more eliminating that I can do. The child who bought the toy teapot sat next to Theo. Well, I can see that Tim did not buy the toy teapot, so Tim did not sit next to Theo. So I'm going to eliminate Theo from underneath Tim. That only leaves Tamika. So I'm going to circle Tamika underneath Tim and cross off Tamika under everybody else. Okay, let's continue on to the next clue. The tiny top cost Tim $9. The tiny top cost Tim, oh, I'm sorry, we had that clue. Let's do clue number 7. Tom did not sit near Trevor, and he did not give the top hat or teapot. Tom did not sit near Trevor, so let's go to Tom and cross off Trevor. And he did not give the top hat or the teapot. So let's cross off top hat and teapot. You might not have could have seen that I crossed off Trevor from underneath Tom as well. Okay, so what does that leave us for Tom? That leaves the tape recorder. So I'm going to circle tape recorder underneath Tom's name, and I'm going to cross off tape recorder from underneath text and Terry. I'm going to go back and look at my clue again. Tom did not sit near Trevor, which I crossed off, and he did not give the top hat or the teapot. And I'm just going through and seeing if there's anything else I can eliminate. I don't see anything else I can eliminate with up here, but in looking at the prices again, I saw that Tim, we had circled $9, and so I'm going to go over here to text, cross off $9, and circle $8. That's how much his gift cost. Now I'm going back down to the names to see if there's anything else I can eliminate, and there's not right now. But I am going to go look at this clue number 4 again. It says the child who bought the toy teapot sat next to Theo. I don't yet see who bought the toy teapot, so I'm going to go on to my next clue. Okay, Clue number 8. Tex did not sit next to Theo. So I'm going to go down to text and I'm going to cross off Theo. Now that gives me some information. Since Tex did not sit next to Theo, based on clue number 4, I know that Tex did not have the toy teapot. Because clue 4 told us whoever had the toy teapot sat next to Theo, and I just crossed off Theo right there. So that leaves the top hat for Tex. So I'm going to circle top hat. Now I'm going to slide over here to Terry, eliminate top hat, and circle toy teapot. And again, based on clue 4, I now know that Terry is the one who sat next to Theo. So I'm going to circle Theo and eliminate everything else. Now since I eliminated Theo right here, or since I circled Theo here, I can eliminate Theo from underneath Tom, which only leaves Teresa for Tom. And since I just circled Teresa, I can eliminate Teresa here and circle Trevor. Now let me go through and make sure that I have something circled for each person. Tim had the tiny top. It cost $9, and he sat next to Tamika. Terry had the toy teapot. It cost $10 and sat next to Theo. Tina had the tennis balls. They cost $5 and she sat next to Ted. Tom had the tape recorder. It cost $6 and he sat next to Teresa. And finally, Tex had the top hat. It cost $8 and he sat next to Trevor.